All right, y'all. It's 3:05 Leland Live. Let's get back at it. So much to do this afternoon. I've still got so much territory. Haven't even gotten a chance to cover yet. EcoView Windows and Doors bringing you the show tonight. If you have single pane windows, you're out of date. I don't care if your house is brand new. They're just going to fail on you because that little thin sheet of glass cannot separate you from the outside the way double pane, triple pane, gas filled windows can. And if you already have an older home that's got leaky windows, over time, their whatever little thermal barrier you had in the first place starts to fail and fade. And the industry average, the statistical average of homes that have these kind of windows is 35% of your money that you spend on your heating and air is just wasted. It's not keeping you warm. It's not keeping you cool. It's gone. It's out the window. Maybe that's where that phrase comes from. We need to fix it. Let's do it with EcoView. They're the best. They are the best. They've got the best products, the best installers. They stand behind their products with warranties. They cover their workers while they're on site. They clean up after themselves. They're quick about their work. Their products are superior. It'll improve the value of your home. It'll save you on your bills. You may even have some tax incentives for doing this kind of efficiency work on your home. You'll need to check with Becky and your tax preparer on how that works in your situation. Y'all reach out to them, get a free estimate. They'll come count your windows and let you know what it'll cost. EcoViewWindows.com, EcoViewWindows.com. Let me start with Iran. We got to get to the Southern Poverty Law Center, and who knows what develops from there. Here's where we are today. Iran fired. They still got some fast boats, and so it appears some low-level commanders have now taken control of the IRGC. There were rumors last night that one of their groups had gone and kidnapped the gay Ayatollah, if he's even still alive. There's an internal battle between the militant police state version of the Iranian government and the spiritual leaders. Exactly what we want. If there's going to be regime change, they need to fight with each other on the ground for a little bit. And so this game that the IRGC is playing, they don't have really offensive capability. They can do some terrorism. They can take some pot shots. They seized a couple of tankers that didn't belong to us. I think one was Panamanian. A lot of tankers are Panamanian, and actually these were container ships that they seized last night. So why are we waiting? Because the economic battle is on, and we've got all the cards. Here's the deal: on our side, Iran's plan is to inflict incredible pain on the United States so that there's political pressure for the president to cave. Even bigger than that, if they can hold out somehow for 2 years and a few months, we'll have a different president anyway. And even if it's a Republican, I don't think they're going to have the stones to stand up to the Iranians and finish the job. So they're trying to sweat Trump. To do that, there's some intelligence documents that talked about their math on any kind of doomsday scenario. They believed if they could control the strait, they could send oil to close to $200 a barrel, 150, $200 a barrel, thus creating an instant real crisis, not expensive gas, but a real crisis. And that didn't work. At most, we got to 120, and we've already seen those per barrel prices during the Biden administration. Now, today it's going to close at about 92. It was only up $2 today after all this time. So they're not affecting. Listen to me now. I know it sucks because I'm paying $5.25 for a gallon of diesel right now, and I run diesel. And even I was looking at my worst case scenario. If this stays this way through the summer, I got a road trip in the big bus. AJ, gonna cost me another $2,000 probably. But you know what? I'll eat it for the security of our country and the world and the right cause. I don't care. That's not a total sacrifice. We got to do what we got to do. So we're inconvenienced and it sucks and it's expensive, but it is not a crisis. This country has seen crises, and we know that. And people have psychologically gotten used to it. The markets have priced it in. Oil's not shooting all over the place. Even with good news, it kind of goes down. It went down $10 in one day last week, but it hasn't gone straight back up. So their scheme to manipulate just the barrel price isn't working. They'd have to do something like really take out an actual set of tankers, blow up their own production, try to hit their neighbors, and they've lost their ability to do that too. So the blockage is all they've got. They're constipating the world. They're hoping the world just gets tired of being constipated. That's about it. As for the markets and how they have functioned, now we had those big drops right after all this started on March 1st. As of today, two of the markets are setting records. Nasdaq and S&P keep going into record territory, and the Dow just closed up. I think it was close to 300 today. Let me pull that number up. 341 today at the close just a few minutes ago, and we are just about 600 points off the record for the Dow. What is that telling you? Everything else in our economy is going great. The fundamentals are there. Investors see that. The biggest problems right now are probably still trying to catch up to the inflation during the Biden years. The only way to catch up to inflation, it's hard to get prices to go back down, but you can outgrow it. You can produce jobs and produce revenue and get people back on their feet. So these prices seem more normalized, and that takes a minute. We're in that direction. The fundamental numbers are good. So the markets are seeing that, and they've priced in the disruption. They've priced in the oil disruption. Now, the Iranians could still pull something out of their sleeve and shove they could do some, maybe there's something that unexpected that our intelligence services aren't prepared for that could hit the world and cause that price to shoot up to 150 a barrel. If it goes to 150 now, we're more in an economic crisis, not economic artificial inflation. So if it's an economic war, that's our side of the equation. That's what it's costing us. Increased fuel prices, which gets priced into the price of goods, but it's bad, but it's not a crisis, right? So not what they wanted to do to pressure our politicians. Now, on their side, they're losing 500 million a day. They're running out of gasoline. They can't pay the IRGC captains and their street police. And again, it's not just about their government. Their government revenue's down, so they can't pay their security forces. A lot of their leadership's dead. They're fighting with each other, internally warring for control, which leaves an opening for the people. If they get strong enough to uprise, then that's always that hope that they could take their government back. And then we've got the businesses. There's an economy there that depends on exports and imports, and those people are choked off because of the regime. And those people eventually are going to, put it this way, there's more upward pressure from the bottom of Iran to their own dysfunctional and fractionalized government right now than here in the United States. In a battle of wills, except for some panicans and some people that hand wring every time there's a crisis in this country that can't see the long view, neither of history nor the future. Some people just are incapable of seeing past what they're freaked out about today. That's okay. I get it. I'm surrounded by them. But the people that can see the long view, we win. I mean, we win economically. We won militarily. They can't beat us this way. They'd have to change tactics. And when they're fighting with each other, who's going to be the big strategist to decide to change tactics? So we sit and we wait and we see if Pakistan can work a deal. The only olive branch, and I think this may have helped the markets this afternoon late, was, and this is why, let me try to see if I can explain this in plain English. There was a report that the Iranians committed to the United States that they would not kill those 8 women that they were about to execute for publicly protesting in their country. They were about to publicly murder 8 of their own citizens to make an example out of them. And they told the Trump government they were not going to do that this afternoon. Trump was demanding they don't do that. Those women, apparently, according to the Iranians, have been spared. So what does that really mean? That means somebody that has the authority to call that off is talking to the Trump administration. The market saw that as an opening. If there is an olive branch of any type coming from any single source that really has authority, then there's hope there that the peace deal gets worked out, that the surrender gets negotiated and we move on. When there's no talks and everybody is running and there's the prospect of continued bombing, we've run out of stuff to bomb. We have a much more effective strategy at this stage. We have bombed everything we can see from the air that's worthy of bombing without eventually hurting innocent people in the country, and we've got the high road. So it's a wait and see game. It may take several days. It may be over tomorrow. But there's no way the economic blackmail isn't working on the West. Now, it's working on Europe because they weren't running out of jet fuel. But on behalf of the rest of my fellow Americans, screw them. They didn't participate in any of this stuff. They're the ones that chase green dreams, made themselves vulnerable to this chaotic region of the world. They don't have their own supplies like we do. We're not threatened by it. We can produce all the oil and jet fuel we need. And so it's been a boon for our businesses, and Europe can pound sand. So fun times. That's your update. Still yet to be able to rant to you about the stuff we found out since yesterday about the Southern Poverty Law Center. This is one of the biggest scandals in modern history. I cannot overstate it. The optics, and honestly, I'm going to tell y'all the media's role in propping up this organization and falling for this propaganda and screwing with our country this way. Some people ought to be hung in the public square over this. We need to take treason seriously. And I mean some high-level people. I'll get into that. I got things to say. But first, let's go to Andy on the cell phone. What's up, Andy?
Hey, Leland. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, man.
I saw an article, I guess, last week or so about the Republicans running for Senate. You know, you got Steve Marshall and Barry Moore, and they had a guy listed as an outsider. I think he's a Navy SEAL vet, and I don't remember his name. I was wondering if you knew anything about him.
No, who is this again that's running for Senate here?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. I faded on you because we got a breaking story that a circuit court has overturned last night's vote in Virginia. I'll get into that later. Yeah, it was stupid. It was folly what they were trying to do last night. So I got squirreled, Andy. I'm sorry about that. You're speaking of Jared Hudson, and
Okay.
yeah, and Jared is a friend of mine. I mean, I knew him. I had him on the show a lot. Supported his organization before he decided to get into politics. And in full disclosure, he met with me before he decided to run, and I told him the pluses and minuses and was very honest with him, and he jumped in and is doing very, very well. I think he's got the best resume in the field because he's not a politician. We've got to start electing people that haven't spent their lives trying to be in politics.
That was my thoughts exactly.
Yeah, that has great appeal to me, but I'm not going to campaign for him and do things that would affect the race. I want to be fair to the other candidates. The truth is,
Yeah.
the other guys are good guys. I don't know Barry Moore, but I'm going to get to know him here in a few weeks when he comes in. Everybody that knows him likes him. I mean, and I've always respected the Attorney General. He's probably performing the worst in the race right now on the polling because he should have been the front runner and stayed there, but he hasn't. So it's a crowded field, and most likely we're going to whittle this down in a couple of weeks to two of the candidates, and then it'll really be on. The good thing is the race hasn't turned real sour or negative yet. And I'm waiting on that because generally if somebody can get the money, they'll take a shot at the front runner. Or if the front runner sees the number two getting too close, they'll start trying to nuke them and pull away. So we're in that time zone where some of that might start here any day now.
Okay. All right. Man. Well, man, I appreciate it.
All right, Andy. Yeah, that's it's funny because some people are just dialing in. That's why we have such a huge undecided in the polls. They're just dialing in to figure out what's going on in that race. It's going to be a good one coming up next month. The AG race, and later in the show, AJ, remind me because I'll forget, but just a footnote, both of these two leading candidates for Attorney General, and again, Jay Mitchell, full disclosure, I don't pull punches and I don't take unnecessary punches against candidate, but Jay Mitchell's a friend too. AJ and I both, he was a lawyer in a long case years ago that we were all involved in. That's how we really got to know Jay. Plus his mama listens to the show. That always appeals to me. So Jay's a friend, but I got to be fair about the race. Both of these candidates are taking very unfair, negative shots at each other's background, and I want to clear some of that up. If I don't do it today, we'll try to do it tomorrow. Oh, one more note. Gary Palmer is going to come in on Friday as our sitting congressman to do a radio town hall. And by that, I mean he comes, sits with me, and I stay out of the way and let y'all ask him questions. I'll ask him questions, but it's your chance to talk to your congressman. So I'll have him in. AJ, I think I'll be in the home studio that day. He's going to come over and hang out in the barn with me. And his folks reached out to me today on that, and it'll be good to see Gary. Just make a note of that. Friday afternoon, 4 to 6 at the end of the week. Have your questions ready. When he gets back from D.C., we'll have him in the studio. Mark is up next on cell phone. What's up, Mark?
Happy Wednesday, big dog.
Hey, man. You too.
So, hey, you were talking about the long view, so just hear me out, right? If we were to have a national cap on the price of a barrel of U.S. crude, okay,
Yeah.
I'm not concerned with the world. I'm concerned with me. U.S. crude, 55 to 65 bucks a barrel, and let our gas prices sink to a buck 50 for gas, diesel somewhere around 2.25. How great could America be in 5 years? Because
Problem is,
everything is dependent upon the price of oil, right? So I don't care about a strait. They're saying that 20% of the world's oil comes through that strait. Well, why did my diesel fuel price go $2.25 higher than what it was, 4 months ago?
yeah.
Right? The math doesn't add up. Sorry.
Well, I've gotten that question a lot. It's because the finance system, where investors buy oil on the futures market, they buy contracts for deliveries out in the future, and so they have to price
So
it.
Leland. I don't want to cut you off and be rude, but here's the deal. That's the exact. That sounds like Ted Cruz. That
Well,
sounds
that's
like
just how it
Lindsey
works.
Graham.
You can be in denial if you want
but
to,
what?
Mark, but that's how the damn market works. You ask a question.
All right, so
I'm trying to explain it to you because you
okay.
clearly don't know what the hell you're talking about.
No, Leland, I wasn't asking a question. I was saying let's cap
You can't do
U.S.
that.
crude
You know why you
at
can't
a
do that?
There
know why
you go.
can't cap
There
it?
you go.
Why can't you cap it, Mark?
Well,
Let's have a conversation. Why can't you cap it?
I'm just asking it.
'Cause you
I don't
wouldn't get
know.
any-
You know why? So
All right.
tell me.
I'm about to. Where does gas
All
come
right.
from?
The ground.
And who gets it out of the ground?
Refiners.
And
The
oil
oil man.
drillers, right?
I
You
get.
put the
Yes,
price
sir.
at
You
50,
get it.
you put
yep.
the price at $55 and lock it by some government cap, and they'll quit drilling.
Okay.
And when they quit drilling, you and I run out of gas, and the price goes up anyway. There is a
All right,
price
so what
level
about
where they can make a profit, which they need to make, and we can still afford it, and
Sure.
that's what we're always shooting
Yep.
for. I didn't mean to yell at you.
I got you. Yes.
But if we
No, it's all good. Hey, love you to death, but I'm tired. You and I are the same
I
age.
know it.
I am sick and tired of hearing Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz and all this crap. Hey, why don't we, if we truly wanted to make America great, let's use, because we're the largest oil producer on the planet. Why don't we have our own price for our oil? I don't care about what comes from a ship. And then I got you. Anyway, dude, love the show.
Thanks,
I appreciate the spirit. See you. Bye.
Thanks, man. Guess Mark doesn't want to hear why we actually do have two prices for oil. I'll explain, or maybe I won't. Some people get offended by the truth, AJ. Thank you, Mark. Back in a minute. All right, y'all. Axiom Tax Resolution Group bringing you the show today. 205tax.com. If you got through tax week last week and you're still kind of fretting because you had to file an extension or you just couldn't pay, but you filed anyway, all these things that happen, man, you need to reach out to Perry Cronin. He is local. He'll get it done for you. He will figure it out. There are programs to help you settle for less than you owe. There are programs to help you make it stop, make the harassment stop, the threats, the intimidation. They don't even tell you the whole truth. There's sometimes these guys will start reaching out, but they won't tell you if they missed a deadline or if you've exceeded some area that they don't want you to know about. But Perry knows this stuff because there's no one in this country that knows more about dealing with the IRS and taxes and who to call, how to talk to them, and what the laws and the rules are than Perry. So worth every bit of their fees to get you some relief and some sleep and get the government off your back, because tell you what, when you get this worked out, here comes another tax deadline. They just keep coming at us. It's Axiom Tax Resolution Group. Let Perry help. 205tax.com. The phone number is 205-872-1100. Quick thought on Mark. I mean, I get Mark's general premise, but it's just dysfunctional when it comes to economics. It's not, I don't think it's excuse making to recognize that the world moves on this oil system that has been built worldwide. And without it, we starve to death. It also is the system of competition that brings our prices down. It actually guarantees supply, which is critical for us. If you run out of oil, we all die. Do y'all know that? The day there's no gas, we all die. None of y'all, maybe 5% of y'all know how to grow vegetables and grow your own food. Everybody dies. The supply chain dies. You got to have oil in the real world. The investment system that creates contracts where you buy future deliveries is how it moves all over the world. The companies here in the United States are privately owned. What Mark would suggest, and I get the sentiment, but in reality, what you're talking about is the government nationalizing the oil industry. It's what Venezuela did, and they wound up eating zoo animals. It is, Mandami would love that plan, where the government goes in and hijacks and tries to price control production and get oil out of the ground so we all have cheap gas. It'll fall apart in years. The government will run it in the ground. They'll hire incompetent people to drill oil. They'll start having accidents. Government doesn't know how to run anything. Look at the Birmingham Water Works Board. They can't even get water through pipes. The city of Rome was founded 2,780 years ago. I saw a story about it yesterday. They were doing plumbing about 2,000 years ago. The modern government agency over here, Birmingham Water Works, whatever that was, still struggling to figure it out. Government can't run the oil industry. What does run the oil industry is profit. It's investors like you and me investing in these companies that'll go out and spend billions trying to find this stuff, drill a giant hole, suck it out of the ground, put it through pipes and rail cars and transportation system to a massive refinery to turn it into gas, to then put it on more trucks and get it to the gas station so we can just pull over and get some. It keeps us alive. Without that profit, without that investment, we die. And that's how the whole world system was built. It's a futures market. They buy the contracts today at a price they estimate that it'll be worth tomorrow or weeks or months down the road. And then when it's delivered, they're always bidding on the next batch because we consume this product. It doesn't stay around. It doesn't stay around to compete with other products. It competes on a daily basis. Even the intersection you're at, there'll be two different prices at two different stations because competition, while interruption makes the price go up, like a war or Joe Biden and Barack Obama interfering in the industry, regulating it and lopping off production. Governments make it go up. Competition makes it go down. It'll come down. There's my speech. Back in a minute. All right, y'all. It is 3:34. Man, we are just going 100 miles an hour this afternoon. There's so much going on. Lonnie is Furniture Company bringing you the show tonight. Lonnie is FurnitureCompany.com. They are right off exit 280 if you're on I-65. If you're going north or south, that exit kind of shoots everybody over to Highway 31. So you get off that exit and head south on 31. You'll see them down there just less than a mile away. Man, this is a wonderful store. We'll be doing some furniture shopping in a few months too. Got to add some extra chairs here or there, a couple of extra pieces. And I can't wait because there's so much to look at. The prices are always good. No matter when you go in there, even if they're not having a discount or a sale, their pricing for the value you get and the selection you get is just amazing. And the best people. I mean, that's what makes a business is how they help you. So they will give you all the advice you want. Arlene will take you back in that studio and piece it all together. She's got a million samples of leather and fabrics and all that stuff. Overwhelming for me, but she's really good at helping you without telling you what you want and helping figure out what you want. One day I thought about it. I was like, it's like a courtroom sketch artist or somebody that's trying to sketch a mugshot of a witness. Like you're trying to describe it, and she figures it out and produces what you're talking about, and it's amazing. But if you don't want any help, you just want to go sit on the couch for 20 minutes and think about it. Do it. They don't care. It's awesome. A great location for a lot of folks in the area and a long drive for some of y'all. It just is. It's Lonnie is Furniture Company. Been with us for years. Y'all go see John and Reggie and that whole team. Lonnie is 93 years in business. Lonnie is Furniture Company Superstore.com. Okay, man, I could go on we got a lot of calls about the oil stuff, and it's front and center right now. I get it. We do have a couple of other stories. Let me just give you a surface view, and we'll go heavier on it a little bit later. But first up, a local judge in Virginia has already thrown out the election last night. Y'all, they didn't approach this constitutionally. They tried to shove it through. They had millions in Democrat money. One of the people that's most desperate for this is Barack Obama, because I honestly think he's in deep legal trouble because he tried to stage a coup in this country right at the end of his presidency. And he was a big participant in it. He's continued to participate in it. He's under the 8 ball, and I think he knows it. He is desperate to find something to truncate the Trump administration, and they thought rigging the House races this year through this process in Virginia was going to help. Not to mention Florida is going to neutralize anything Virginia would have done. They just went about it the wrong way, and people were calling them out for it, but nobody sued. And in some cases, you can't sue until the damage has been done. But now that the votes have been cast, now you've got standing and a ability to have plaintiffs to bring the case instead of a preemptive suit. So it'll be fun to watch this play out. I don't know how friendly the Virginia Supreme Court is, but this could also go federal in a number of ways because of civil rights violations in that state. So that's a breaking story this afternoon. And then let me get to and you guys, Jack and Rocket and Jamie, y'all hang on. I'm coming to the phones. I need 2 minutes to talk about the Southern Poverty Law Center that broke, a story that broke yesterday with the indictment. I've been calling this organization out probably for 30 years for being hostile. They are no longer the venerable civil rights organization that sued the Klan out of business. They learned from that if you have a boogeyman, you can raise money. So they freaking created their own enemy to raise money off dumbasses like George Clooney and his wife. You know, they gave them $10 million after Charlottesville. Let's talk about Charlottesville. What happened at Charlottesville? The people that caused the fight and caused the ruckus that looked like they were on the so-called Trump side of the equation, those phony guys that had the torches, Southern Poverty Law Center organized that. Can I repeat that to you? The SPLC paid the guy to organize that in Charlottesville. A girl died. And the media seized on it, quoting the SPLC, and used it as a cudgel against Trump the whole of his first term. They mischaracterized his viewpoint, his worldview. When you have an organization dedicated to fighting race hate, you got to invent some race hate. And then they did stuff like take very legitimate conservative organizations, Turning Point USA, Dr. Ben Carson, I could keep going. The Catholics. Do you remember when the FBI director put out a memo targeting pro-life Catholics in this country as being potential terrorists? You know who he cited? Hello, are y'all listening to me right now? Do you know who he cited to put that stupid memo out targeting a huge religious group in this country? The Southern Poverty Law Center. They went from doing anything that resembled simple justice to being a freaking terror organization on behalf of the American left, attacking all of their opponents. Even benign groups like freaking Turning Point USA, a bunch of college kids with microphones talking on campuses. Suddenly that was a threat to America. The FBI with Richard Ray was hand in glove with them, and the media gave it amplification, and every bit of it was phony. We are not a racist country, but the American left needs, I don't mean to say individuals aren't racist. Sure they are, but we're not a racist country. It's not institutional. It's not even systemic. That's been the biggest lie outside of climate change in our culture in the last 40 or 50 years, and most of it's made up. They make up their own history. They reinvent the past. They make up their own slogans, and then they create these fake groups and cause violence in this country that wouldn't have been there if they weren't stoking it, and then blaming it on the other side. They did it after the George Floyd incident. They were participants in all that. They staged Charlottesville. Are y'all listening to what I'm saying? And this story will not get covered by the same news outlets that took the can of gas that the SPLC gave them and set this country on fire. They won't even cover this. I hope individuals are targeted. They gave millions to these people. They had to create their own boogeyman to scare people into giving them money. And then they took the money and parked it offshore in the Cayman Islands as a tax shelter so they could sit on their war chest. And then they use that war chest as almost insulation so that they become untouchable. They've got a huge pot of money that rivals governments to fight off any challenges to what they've been doing. They fake their own victimization. I told you yesterday, I used to have an office next door to their office down in Montgomery. They'd always have this security guard standing around out there pacing around with a gun, like they were constantly under threat. The whole time I ever worked down there, nobody ever threatened them. Nobody ever showed up. Nobody gave a damn. They ceased to be really important after a while, and then they had to invent their own. They had to invent their own enemies. Hey, what a wonderful statement about race relations in this country. That in order to establish that there are hate groups out causing violence and are a threat to this country, in order to get that in the conversation, you got to lie about it. What a wonderful statement about who we really are as people, that the people that think that's true are making it up. They searched high and low. The FBI at one point had a whole task force. They had, I forget how many agents on the task force. If my number serves right, it was like 400 agents assigned to a white supremacy task force. And their job was to go out and find these hidden groups and arrest them and infiltrate them and find them. They couldn't find any. There's been congressional testimony to this effect. They had to disband it. There were more FBI agents than there were Klan members. Klan's dead. Klan's been dead. There is no Klan. There's no meeting. I have covered Klan rallies in my life, and I've covered civil rights marches. And that day's so long gone. Now we got to manufacture it because these people romanticize that past and want to use it to inject division and animosity into our politics. If anything has been racist and institutionally racist in modern culture, it was the DEI initiative, where it completely singled people out by race to promote others that may or may not have been competent and did nothing but divide this country. You want to create racism? Keep doing that kind of stuff. If you want to create division, which is exactly what these people want. If you want to destroy a country, you got to divide it. It's divide and conquer. I talked about this yesterday. This is what this damn organization has been doing. With the help of Barack Obama and his minions, this districting stuff, all of this plays into the same group of people, faking their own reality to try to pull off some coup in this country. We're not going to let them. They've been exposed. I don't know if there'll be real criminal repercussions for the individuals, but there should be. And every news outlet that would remotely care about journalistic ethics would go back and review their coverage, find every time they sourced the SPLC as a source and an authority on these matters and retract it and change it and correct it, because this fraudulent organization has been villainizing people and targeting them since. And this playbook is the same playbook they've been using against ISIS. I mean, not ISIS, excuse me, ICE. You vilify, you call them Nazis. By the way, Gavin Newsom's law in California just got overturned by the Ninth Circuit that says the state of California can't force federal agents to take off masks and identify themselves. The state of California has no authority under the Supremacy Clause to regulate the federal government and how they operate, period. So that just got overturned by the Ninth Circuit. Any other day, that'd be a huge story, but it's not in the news because we got all this other stuff to deal with. Y'all, it's a crazy time to be living in America. I'm glad this crap's getting exposed. You know, we all knew it. That's why I'm so animated right now. We freaking knew it. You watch a bunch of white boys come out of the woods with torches. Nobody carries torches. No, that was phony from the beginning. These people were walking around in Charlottesville with tiki torches from a Lowe's somewhere. Nobody does that. That's fake. That is a stereotype of what leftists think right-wing people do. So they recreate it when they cosplay and then pretend to cause violence so they can raise money. And George Clooney was stupid enough to give him $10 million. Oh, because he's so good and decent. They raised $120 million after Charlottesville, and they planted Charlottesville. Pretty good scheme, I guess. Same thing with this Patriot Front group, all these other douchebags walking around in parks with matching outfits. I called it out in the moment. I was like, that's not a bunch of conservative guys. We got pot bellies and wear camouflage hats. We don't dress like each other, like we're in a little douchebag biker gang. They might as well have worn bicycle breeches. They had the same haircuts. They look like feds and probably were a combination of the two. The SPLC was propping all this stuff up. And Richard Ray should be questioned about all this stuff too. Did he send them money? How much coordination did he give? When this information, when the Charlottesville information hit the FBI, and you know good and damn well they knew where that money came from that set that whole thing up. Should we have not known about that then? Why are we just finding out 10 years later? Because these people are all frauds. Everything they're about are frauds. USAID, freaking Act Blue, the SPLC, all of these organizations, their viewpoint on the border, climate change, none of that stuff's real. They're creating a fake reality and living off of it. And one of them, while I'm at it, created a fake winery. Ilhan Omar, God bless her soul, or Allah bless her soul, whatever she's doing today. This woman just dissolved the fake winery that she created and claimed to have made $30 million on. Are y'all following this story? First, she reports that she and her husband have a winery worth $30 million. So they created an LLC, gave it a name, and claimed to have this revenue and reported it. And then they got busted. And then 2 or 3 days ago, she amends her report and said, oh, no. We didn't mean 30 million. We meant 100,000. Just math, right? Just mathematical error. After all suddenly she's changing the report after defending that they really did have a winery. They never produced wine. The building didn't exist. It was all on paper. She faked that whole thing. And now they've dissolved the LLC as if they can just erase it and it goes away. She's going to prison. If they did take money and run it through there, she's going to prison. Jack is in Crane Hill. What's up, Jack?
Hey, I just wanted to weigh in real quick on the price of gasoline and oil, and your theorem about the economics of it is correct, but that is not really the underlying problem, even if somehow we were overcome that. The problem is we do not have refineries in this country that can refine the oil, all of the oil that the United States produces. Therefore, to keep the refineries going, because they sell every bit they refine, they have to buy overseas oil. So the big question is, why don't they build more refineries? And that's a whole nother, discussion. But my theorem is two. One, the oil companies don't trust the United States government. They've been in the crosshairs before by the climate change people. and probably will be again, and they know it. And number two, they're probably making money pretty good just the way things are set up now. So I just wanted to get that out there to the viewers. It's not a matter that we could just say, oh, okay, we're going to hold our own oil and refine all of it, and then we'll have plenty. No, we don't. We don't have the refineries to do it.
Well, let me add to that because you're correct, but there's even more to that story, and you're absolutely correct in the approach on that.
Excellent.
Which is about supply and demand. Supply comes through the refineries, which is why I was trying to walk Mark through the process. You get it out of the ground, you got to go refine it, you got to turn it into gas, get it to us. It's a huge system. And the reason we don't have the refineries is basically regulation. California, for example, we just put a new one back on because Trump's in office. California is about ready to throw rocks over their oil prices. And for the first time in a while, a huge refinery that used to produce millions of gallons of gas on a regular basis just got put back online. And it's been a battle with the state of California that ran it out of business. The regulatory environment and the litigious environment that governments have put in the way of new refining capacity are a big part of that.
Yes, absolutely. That's my theorem number one.
Well, it was like I said a second ago, governments cause the price to go up through the harassment, the regulation, the obstacles they throw in the way of the competition. Competition, our use, the demand side, it holds the price down. At some point, we'll quit driving or we won't buy it. But when you interdict the supply, and honestly, Trump drove the price up with a war, but he's doing it for a future security of the product so that prices can stay down. We see the long view, but the war has interrupted that. So it's government again, doing things to disrupt supply, and that's where we are. We consumers have so much control, but governments tend to, with taxation, OSHA regulations, lawsuits, regulatory stuff, lopping off the Biden administration, lopped off the Western drilling, the drilling in the Gulf. They repeatedly tried to run that industry out of business. Barack Obama himself said he wanted the price to go so high that people would consider alternative energy. They were trying to artificially force us onto something else, and that didn't work.
Right. And, if you're an oil company CEO or on the board of directors, are you going to roll the dice and build a new refinery when you know that just on the strength of some presidential election,
sure,
you may be targeted? Well, anyway, that was my point.
Good
I don't
stuff,
want
Jack.
to tie your program
excellent
up.
stuff, man. I appreciate it. Because the next Democrat president will put you out of business. And we don't keep Trump's only got, listen, I'm not trying to freak y'all out, but it's true. If you're a bedwetter, this is good news to you. But for the rest of us, we only got about 2.5 years of this guy. And really not even that if these lunatics get control of the House of Representatives. Just let that settle with you for a few minutes while we take a quick break. Back in a minute. Man, if there's ever a time when you need to be paying attention to this particular sponsor, it's right now because we got hail storms possibly coming through Friday night, and then again on Monday. We're in the spring storm season, and this could be large hail. It could do some serious damage to your roof. So I'm going to stall a little bit and tell you about Greg Nelson. And in a minute, I'm going to give you his phone number. So be ready to memorize it or jot it down. Are you good at memorizing, AJ? You ever get those? I get pins all the time where I got to put a pin. I can't. You give me 6 numbers, I've got it for maybe 20 seconds. But if I don't get it, I got to go back and look. So y'all get ready to memorize. You ready? Okay, I'm just fair warning. Greg Nelson, been around for going on 30 years. His whole family's involved in the business, 2 generations. This man knows roofing. We used to call him Greg from Pell City because he'd call the show a lot. He's a good dude, absolutely thorough professional in his business. You don't want a shoddy roof installation. If you wind up with storm damage and you're going to get one of these fly-by-night crews that just show up in your neighborhood claiming they can help, one, you better hope they show back up after you give them half your money. 2, you better hope they don't do something that your insurance company's not going to honor, because that happens. People will put them to work and they'll convince people. I've seen this happen. They'll say, oh, your insurance will cover it. Let us get a tarp up there and we'll go ahead and patch this up or do that. And then they're gone. And insurance company's not going to cover these things unless you do it right. Greg knows how that works. So he can help you with your claim. You do have some time. I know you got to get dried in and maybe tarped up if you have damage, but you have some time to get the full repair done. There's a claim window. He understands all this stuff. I don't even know. He knows. Trust Greg, okay? Here comes the storms. Here's that number. Even if you get through this weekend with nothing to deal with, then you want this number somewhere in case you do have an incident. It's Storm Restoration Roofing, 205-542-3531. Well, let me do it again. It's a 205, of course, 542-3531, Storm Restoration. Jamie, I'll give you the floor, and then we'll take it to the top. What's up, Jamie?
All right. Yes, sir. 2 things. Your first caller answered my question for the first thing, but so I'm changing gears here.
Okay.
I want you to explain. I'm ignorant on this. I want to know what. I love to be informed. So I want you to explain to me what the whip is. Number 2, I was sued twice, or I was sued 5 times. I'm sorry, that's number 2. I was sued 5 times by the Southern Poverty Law Center when I worked for the ADOC for being a Mason, a white person that shaved my head that was right out of the military.
So you worked in the
joke.
prison?
This is no joke. This is no joke.
Hold on, Jamie. You worked in the prison system?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay, I got you. All right. I don't know about all that.
Years.
They harass people. That's what they do. Did you ask me about the whip, as in the Senate procedure?
The whip in the House.
Okay. That is, it's a euphemism, really. The person that wrangles the votes and keeps up with the head count and on behalf of the leader and goes out and says, you're going to vote with us, and tries to sort of keep people in line. They call them the whip. It's an official position, and as if they're cracking the whip on their own caucus to keep them all together. It's sort of a wrangler. They're sort of a cat herder in the Republican Party. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, yes, sir, it does. Okay.
All right, Jamie, got to go. Top of the hour. Back in a minute.
Thank you.